So, before we put the battery on, I just want to say that it's -2 degrees.
More than that.
It's -3.
What is that in Fahrenheit? Like about
-500 or something.
40 or something?
I don't know, nobody here speaks in black and white. That sounds alright. Well, we know it works, so anything we do today, if it then doesn't, is our fault.
Yeah.
As opposed to Gianni's fault for buying a replica. Today we should, this is definitely the video, today we make an exhaust. Because it's come up everywhere but there, which is where it should be.
Want to protect that beautiful subframe.
It's going to rust whether you protect it or not, sir. Right, so we're just having a look on what we've got in the way of stock here. This is all that remains of the old exhaust. Now, the bit that concerns me is this. It's not exactly straight, and there's got to be a reason for that.
That kind of goes up and over the subframe or something.
Yeah, we've managed to
It goes in a funny direction, doesn't it?
So you've got all your collectors and gubbins that sits, and this is just in front or behind the sump rather. And then from there, that kinks up and over the subframe, and then from here on is where we're going to make the magic. Obviously, the collector's pointing this out at an angle.
So from when we had to cut it off the car, and by looking at the welding, I think that that's been made up on the car and they haven't removed the subframe, and that's why it's probably at a bit of a jaunty angle.
Well, we'll see. As long as the angle that comes out the back is perfectly straight, I'm happy with reusing it. If it's not, because it's kinked into some exhaust.
Because I know for us to get it off, we had to use an angle grinder because it wouldn't get over the subframe. Would you like me to line it up?
No, I think that is it. Who cut this? Superman.
Some big f***ing idiot. Oh, that was me, wasn't it? What did I tell you? I've taken up a new sport.
Are we not counting like using a magnet in the river as a sport?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I've got my Oh, jeez.
Hey man.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Ow. I've got my magnet with me if you want to see it.
So that was my first concern, which has been realised.
The angle.
The angle.
Is it? Have I maybe put it in wrong? Is it?
No, you've put it right. Come on in.
This image here is going to be June on the calendar.
Could you not just cut the pipe at an angle so you could put a flat bit? You get it?
I get it. This was my plan.
Oh, now that is a nice plan.
It was my plan.
That won't work.
No, well it that would have been my ideal plan.
That would look ace.
My assumption, without ever picking this up and looking at it in the past,
That was straight.
it was straight, but it's actually as bent as a 7-bob knot. We're going to straighten that. Now there's probably a good reason it's bent.
It's bent because it's been welded on the car.
It's going to be here now, as opposed to in the middle. So this will mean that's probably going to be the length, and then this will need to be out here. My biggest concern is going to be, it's going to be that. We're going to end up losing this flexi because we just don't have the length to get away with it. I mean, we could maybe get rid of that, and if we've got the space to wire it out.
Could you? Or could you not
There.
just chop this little fellow a bit shorter?
No, because my concern with that fellow is that it actually the subframe's here, and if I start adding girth where the subframe is,
Yeah,
we're not getting away with that.
What's your opinion?
Should have bought a real Ferrari. No matter what I do and how wrong I get this, it's not going to be any wronger than the zero exhaust it has at the moment.
Well, we made the exhaust shorter.
Wow.
There's a lot of welding wire in there.
That's a lot. I mean, we could probably reuse a lot of that.
Oh, look at it,
I am thrilled about using this welder all day.
It's a lot straighter looking.
It's definitely not as bent.
It smells warmer in here as well.
Aye, we could just. I think we just start running seams of weld along your bench, mate. Just
Did you get us electrics for Christmas? That's what it smells like in here now.
I've sized this up and it does fit with the straightening ID on, so that's good. We'll properly weld this once we get to my unit. So I'm going to chop here and we're going to size up putting on the flexi. I really want to use the flexi, and it's not going to add that much more length to what we've already got, so that's next. Alright boys, so we're back under. and our alignment looks a little bit like that. It's not great, but not terrible.
Much better.
It's better. So what we're going to do is start throwing stuff on. Our Y is going to take us to here. Maybe this will work.
Are we going to put a flange in somewhere?
Well, I mean, I would love to put a flange in somewhere, Dave, but we don't have any.
I'm hoping that one needs to come off. We'll just take the subframe.
No, it's more just like if we...
And we will absolutely not be taking the subframe off.
It's just I'm more thinking, will we get to a stage where we tack it all up and whatever, and then it can't go on the car?
Right, so that's where our Y's sit. So where does the absolute... Right, I've got to get all my curves done with it. Ah, see, this is already a bit of a to get out. It's not. If you can do it, it's fine. It's fine. If you can get it out, it's fine.
Aye, but once it's, I mean, I think definitely sleeving it's the way to do it.
Forgive the crudeness of this marble, Murray. This is the Y. This is the way.
I've been asking myself why quite often recently.
That I am going to chop down and weld in where it tapers, so it's as tight into there as possible. Then we're going to weld it up. We're going to then cut 2 of these off, flip them around, sleeve them in there and weld them up, so that out of there we will have sleeves, and that will allow this to be split. Because if it doesn't split, it isn't going over the subframe, and that is apparently a problem. So once they are sleeved, we will then have pipe from here, but we're going to trim them right down so it comes out thus. From those pipes, we'll obviously not have a sleeve here. We will then have this going to there, this going to there, and depending on how much space we'll need, it's just a 90 degree to a 90 degree. So that will go either shortened, with that in, coming out, or if it needs to go longer, we have sleeved male and female tubes out there that we can add length with. And that should work.
Should just leave it like that.
Wally.
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 Did that just happen?
We join us slightly relocated to a place where I know there's a circuit breaker. Done.
What are you laughing at?
Oh god, this isn't went well.
What, because of the angle?
Nah, the angle's fine. It was not fine. Okay, now all we need to do is finish it. I am so glad that there's going to be a large thing at the back hiding this.
I think it looks awesome. I love that pure like raw look of it.
Aye, let's fire it up. Hi Dave, you want to give us a synopsis of where we're at now?
I would say we would set fire to the car, but it's not getting any fuel to let us do that. so it will start sometimes, and then it runs for a little bit, and then cuts out, and then won't start again. So we've just pulled the fuel line off there and tried to run it, or tried to crank it, and then nothing's coming out. So we've narrowed it down to the car's not getting fuel, which might have been the problem the whole time. In which case we might not have had to take an engine out.
I don't think we ever
needed to take an engine out. We didn't really
The
have to.
engine's been absolutely fine.
We really just did that for clickbait. It was just for likes, really, wasn't it?
For the walls.
Yeah. So
It looks a lot cleaner.
Immobiliser is suspect. We've got an issue with it just cut out, as you just saw. So what we've done is we've replaced everything in ignition, so it can't possibly be that.
and it's getting spark.
It's getting spark,
Yeah,
right?
it's getting spark.
But it just seems to, no matter what the RPM, die after about 4 minutes of running. So we took off the fuel return, cranked it, well, primed it, and it doesn't do anything, but I've got a suspicion that these old Toyotas don't actually send fuel until it cranks. But even when we crank, nothing. So I am of the suspicion that we've got an issue with either the pump, a blocked filter, because this car sat for 10 years before it actually turned the key again. The filter might be blocked, the pump might be dying, or bonus points, the immobiliser again might be playing funny and cutting the fuel for some random reason whilst it's running, which
It's possible, because I mean it's locked and unlocked itself by itself.
it keeps doing erroneous stuff. Because it's also a good immobiliser, it's got a number of things that cut, well, you know, higher end. It's got a number of things that will cut out starter and clearly fuel. So I suspect that if it's dying, could be that.
We've narrowed it down at least to the fact that it's fuel.
We've narrowed down to the
Definitely
car.
fuel-related.
The car's definitely not running.
Ah, yeah.
That's where we've got to so
Yeah.
far. All I asked him to do was take the exhaust off, and he's already got an impact
impact
gun
gun
on. I finger tightened this. If you look closely, you'll see I've also marked up the joins where it needs to be welded at a place where I have a welder that won't cut out my entire power supply. So yes, I'm going to take this exhaust away and weld it up at Tools and Track Towers. Bring it back. Then going to have to look at how it mounts to the car.
Which it doesn't at present.
Which it can't, because the previous exhaust was taken off with a hacksaw, including the rubbers.
Well, so 'cause I was involved in the taking off of the exhaust process, and the previous back boxes were kind of almost welded straight onto the car, so there wasn't really many ways to get them off other than to just chop them.
Oh wow, look, there's
There's a thing.
an exhaust. See, once this exhaust goes on,
Yes.
what's the next thing for your car?
Try and get it running right. No, start button
Start button.
and ignite.
Get it running right. Fuck that.
Oh no, Dave, I'm pretty sure a start button's exactly what it needs to run right.
What we'll do is we'll introduce more unknown quantities
Electrical gremlins.
into the electrical system of this vehicle, because that's just what it's asking for right now.
What I've done here is weld on little bits of inch by inch box section. I wonder if you'll be able to see it. See how it's filleted lovely onto the side of that. Now these are going to be hangers, so I've got one on the left hand side. And something is going to hang it from here to here. And then the same on this side. There's a wee hanger there that'll keep that side up. And there's also a wee plate that I'll put in here with a hole, and that will
Put a bit of threaded rod through it or something.
I don't really care, Dave, to be quite honest. I might just weld it straight to the car at this point.
I mean, that's how it was done before.
That's
It's
I don't know how
nearly
many
dead.
I don't know how many episodes I can tell you that in before you finally take the hint of it.
Is that going to fit next to the other one?
Gee, honestly, mate.
I hope it doesn't.
See if it doesn't, I'm just gonna walk away from this car. So we want this to be like that. What's going to happen first? Steel crush or strip threads?
Strip thread. Oh well, oh no, wait a minute, they both gave you good blue, didn't they?
Yeah.
Alright, could be.
Let's open the door and have a look at it. What do you think?
Yeah.
Does that look alright? You happy? Show me your happy face.
I'm happy as a pig in a blanket.
I'm intrigued,
is that what they say?
I'm intrigued once it's all done to find out what it sounds like.
We heard it. We heard it.
Ah, but wasn't it gasketed up and all, which it still isn't, but I mean, see once it's absolutely done and it's on chat, I
Aye.
think it'll be quite interesting.
Well, do you know what it'll sound like? A 350Z with the most obnoxious jap can you've ever seen.
And I don't like the sound of them, I hope it doesn't sound like that.
That's exactly how that's going to sound.
They sound like wasps stuck in a bin.
I like the sound of 350s.
Oh no, not with all the cats and all that cut out.
I hope you do.
Yeah.
Do you know, like when he dyes his hair, he looks a bit like
Estelle Getty.
Tesco Value Johnny Rotten, like Johnny Pleasant. Fisher Price Johnny Rotten.
Like Johnny Rotten off Wish.
What are you doing, Gianni?
I am taking this crash bar off so that we can hopefully line up the exhaust a bit better.
Alright. Does that mean you didn't line it up well before?
Apparently not. Well, that's right.
Do you know what? That's a note. That's a tone that you will never hear again, Dave. those hairs in your ears are dead.
Who put the last one in?
Definitely wasn't you, clearly.
Could you give me a... I think it's a 10.
I think that's anything but a 10.
No,
that's a 13.
They're all different. They're all
Oh Christ, man! Is it this guy? No, I can't. He's done that. He has 10. It's a 10 because it's got nothing in common with the other bolts that you just took out. So, you know. And you know, it's alright though, Dave, because this is bolts that you'll see rather than all the bolts that you want that don't match under the engine bay. Oh, he's actually got states there, like
laser cut into it, yeah.
Yeah,
It's very fancy.
make sure you get it the right way around.
Oh, mate. That's way more space than I thought. Do you want me to bolt it up or would we just literally resting it?
Oh no, gun it up. So what manga character was it that you've copied the hair from?
EastEnders.
Is it not a Pokemon like this tattoo?
It is absolutely Doc Horton, isn't it?
So
When
symmetry's
we
not something that we're really going for in this build.
What do you mean it's not somewhere? It's fine, Dave.
That's actually pretty symmetrical.
It looks alright.
Put your finger.
Oh mate,
See,
no.
see, considering at the minute it's held in with cable ties, Gianni, I think you're being a bit hypercritical. I think that should have exhaust tips on it.
Aye, I think it should as well, but it's not my
Yeah,
car.
I'll sort some. Not rolled though. It will literally just be a black sleeve that...
I think you should just step it up to 3
Aye,
inch.
3-inch slash cut.
Aye, I'll do it.
We'll see.
Measuring here to make brackets in advance. Now G doesn't have the bobbins yet, but we know they're going to be 20mm in depth. So I want the height for this first one to be a maximum of 100mm. So I'm going to have to make a U-shaped 80mm bracket that's going to, just a square bracket that's going to come down and capture the top of that bobbin and hold it in place with 2 holes here that will mount to the boot. That's this one dealt with. On these, obviously they're going to be the same drop height, so I don't measure it too wildly. But to reach the centre of this hole, I'm going to have my bobbin come out horizontally. So the centre of that hole needs to be 105mm. So I need an L-shaped bracket that's going to come down with an elongated hole to the middle of which will be 105, and that'll give me an up and down adjust for wherever I want this to actually sit. And that'll do. So on the one hand, we've managed to get an exhaust system on the car and it's sounding a lot better and we're getting gassed a lot less as a result. But on the other hand, it now still doesn't run. So it's been fun, it's been emotional. All the best.
I know it's a year 20.
That concludes this series. No, we're not going to dump this notch. Pretty confident that we're not getting fuel. We will make it run for longer than 4 minutes, somehow. I don't know how, but it'll happen. That's what you got to look forward to. And then when it runs for more than 4 minutes, you're going to take a drive, aren't you?
Really?
Hell
I
yeah.
don't think we tightened up the black suspension. Or...
What do you mean, me?
Oh, I don't think I put it back together.
Oh,
I think I
then-
might have to dismantle it a bit.
It sounds like you just added something else to the list. So, come back to us then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. To everyone who's a Patreon, thanks for that. Just basically thanks for everything. And we'll see you next time for whatever this thing is being done. I don't know what that is. I hate this car. I hate it too.
Who said that?
I caught a shopping trolley when I was out magnet fishing the other day.
You are f***ing bubbles.
If I look like I'm f***ing raging, it's because I've just spoke all of this already, but G didn't bother to film any of it.
You took the camera and pressed a button and said, "There you go." That'll it won't be the last.
Just like every episode, my patience has been f***ing tested again.
You reckon that there'll be enough flex in that now to make it straight?
I'll f***ing flex you.
Oh, weird flex, but okay.
I'm going to stop you right here. Everything you're filming, I'm not putting in this episode because the worry here for me is
But it's educational.
if we film more of this, that's expected that people will want to see more of this, which will mean I will not work in this, and I'm not working in this.
This is like no snow zone.
No, it's no, it's not.